Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Duggan, and I am here with
Justin Davis.
We're checking out Pillars of Eternity. We just created our character, which is a video in and of itself because it's an extremely deep and complex system. But now we're getting into some gameplay, and we're starting out here with Caravan Master Odima.
Yeah. Are we going to pay attention to this dialogue, or are we going to...
That is a question I was about to ask you. I think we should kind of... and this is not something you should do when you play the game, but I think we should kind of tear through the dialogue and get into the game
actually
and demonstrate
moving
some
around
of the game systems.
So the one thing that surprised me about this game, first of all, is the amount of voice acting. Not everything is voiced, but like way more of the game is than I was expecting. And so, you know, that was a nice surprise that, you know, we can actually listen to what this guy's saying.
And it's not
right now.
just the first encounter you have. There's
all throughout the game.
Yeah.
One of the other things that surprised me was the amount of, I don't even know what you would call it, but just like almost stage direction. So you can see after his dialogue, it says, "At last, the caravan master turns to you, frowning as he looks over."
Right, which is in a slightly different gradient, so you can kind of differentiate that from the text.
That kind of like flavor text or like dialogue or like, you know, he looked grizzled and blah, blah, blah. Like the game is full of that, and that was another thing that sort of surprised me when I started playing. So, you know, I suppose for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and just sort of blast through some of this. But when you're playing, take your time, soak it all in. You only get to play Pillars of Eternity first once.
That's true. But that being said, you don't necessarily have to do that. If you just want to hack and slash and get some fat loot and build your party, that's totally an option here.
Okay, you know what? So this is a whole dialogue tree, but I'm just going to skip it. Screw you, Odima.
No promise.
Wop, wop, wop.
So one thing I would like to point out in the dialogue is this kind of this dude to the left of the fire. He's walking down there. He's got a bow in his back. He's kind of the bad boy of the caravan. To the left of him,
which guy? This guy?
Sparfell, yeah. So he's going off to get us some water because we're not feeling too great. So we had to pull over the entire caravan to get some berries that will hopefully help us with our ailment.
That's how the game opens. There's little things like, again, if you played Baldur's Gate games, you'll already know this. If you didn't, this will be new to you, but tutorials go over it all with you. You can hit tab to sort of see. It shows you a bunch of stuff. And one of the things that it shows you is anything that's blue like this is something that can be looted. And so we actually can't lockpick this.
We could go buy a lockpick, though.
Yeah, we could. You know, or people that you can talk to, or just like things in the world, like anything that has this, you know, little, what the hell are these things called?
Magnifying glass?
Magnifying glass. That's the word I'm looking
I wasn't
for.
sure if that's what the answer you're looking for.
Anything that has a magnifying glass, you know, you can zoom way in and get a lot of detail, or you can sort of get the sort of macro view of what's going on by zooming out. I really, really like the fog of war in games like this. So I guess it's not. I'm used to calling it fog of war because I play like a lot of StarCraft.
Sure.
But like,
I mean, that's essentially what it is.
I really love in games like this that you just have to walk around and reveal the map slowly over time. Just that feeling of like you don't know what's going to be right in front of your face until you actually go and check it out is really appealing to me. Like, and then it slowly reveals the map over time. And I love, like, before I leave an area, I have to fill in the whole map. I won't like let myself leave unless I fill in all four corners. Because
there could be some sweet scripted event over there that somebody put a lot of time into. So here is the merchant, Heoden. And so we're selling some stuff we had, and we're going to purchase some lockpicks probably.
Oh, is that what we're going to do?
Sure. Let's break up one of those boxes.
Oh,
he
does have lockpicks. So it's actually got this barter system where, like, you can drop your items over here and then drop their items over there, and then it says that in order to buy these 3 lockpicks, I actually need 39 more money than what I have. So it's like if we just drop that down to 2 lockpicks, then he actually gave me money plus 2 lockpicks in order to get the thing that I needed.
Shazam! And who knows if this is worth it, but that's the fun of it.
And we could have unlocked this for free, by the way, if we had 1 point in mechanics, but we don't. So we can unlock it with a lockpick, even though we have 0 points in mechanics. Again, sort of replacing
a rogue archetype, or any. Well, like you said in the previous video, anybody can get the mechanic skill. So that's nice. Yeah. If you just want somebody who's handy at unlocking stuff, which is very handy in these kinds of games.
The master of unlocking.
Yes. So here we go. Some of it is a little bit revealed and a little bit transparency where you've gone, but you don't necessarily have vision of right now is like a bit darker. But what you haven't explored is completely pitch black, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's such a little detail, but it's one of my best sort of it just feels so good in these games. That sense of exploration, or that sense of you just have this whole black map to explore, and then by the end you've explored it all. And like, it's not always incredible, but there are like little details, like, you know, we just found 2 dead bodies. What's that about? You know, like that sense of exploration is really, really cool. Nope. Don't exit. I was trying to get out of here. Let me out of here.
Oh man, we've encountered the ultimate puzzle.
There we go. You can adjust the game speed, which one thing that was kind of annoying in older like Baldur's Gate games was like, if all I wanted to do was just go up here, okay, now they gotta slowly walk up here.
Right.
You can just fast forward. You can actually do the opposite if you're in combat, because the way this game works is you can pause it at any time by hitting the space bar. But
So it's like quasi-turn. I mean, it's real time, but it's quasi-turn-based as well, because everybody kind of has cooldowns on when they can act. So once your characters all have an action, you can kind of hit that space bar, think, slot up some abilities that or movements that you want your party to do, hit space, let it play out, or you can do it all on the fly if you're a pro.
And so, like, kind of a nice innovation is that when you're in combat, and we'll actually get combat into a minute. Maybe I'll just show this off then. Well, I mean, I'll just talk about it. When you're in combat, you kind of find yourself pause on pause, pause on pause, pause on pause. And, like, if you're that kind of player, instead they have a slow-mo mode. And so now you can sort of see things unfolding at half speed, and maybe you won't need to, like, pause and unpause quite as often. So
they
it's
also have the option to like kind of script when you want your pauses. So if one of your characters becomes free to have an action, you can pause there.
Yeah, or like I think on by default, and I choose to leave it on, was pause anytime combat starts.
Right.
So
Very
it's like
handy.
the enemies don't get the jump on me, and you know, combat's been happening for like a second and a half without me even realizing it. Am I going the right way? I was only
I believe you have to go get the berries first before you
but I
come
thought
down.
they were
I know
down
what you're
here.
trying to do down here, though.
because I'm half remembering from when I played this before. I thought the berries were down here.
Oh, the berries are to the north west
Okay.
kind of corner.
Got it.
There may or may not be some kind of beast up there as well. So we'll have to
Whoa,
see.
spooky.
Spooky
And now
dog.
the Woot the elf that we made, where in the last video, if you watch, I just sort of ran through character creation. I was only half paying attention to my stats, so hopefully he just doesn't get
That was
stomped.
funny because we spent a solid amount of time creating a moon godlike wizard, and then to demonstrate some of the male character creation, we just went back and hit next 20 times. But that's where we ended up playing, so here we are.
We shouldn't stray too far.
Okay, so now it's telling you about the combat that we just sort of brought up.
Was that cow? Oh my goodness! It's a young wolf, and I always feel guilty killing any kind of animal, especially when it's young.
So, you know, if you're a novice player or playing on normal, or honestly, for the first several combats, you can probably just get away with, you know, sort of all you need to do is select your party, or you can select them down here and just click on who you want to attack.
And there
So-
are your special abilities down there, correct?
Exactly. So, you know, you can just mouse over them and click attack to attack, and then
Look
boom.
at that. We have two characters with the same attack. All
Yeah.
right.
It's true. Yeah, maybe we didn't think this through. Or each character does have abilities. You can switch weapons. We can say, hey, you know, next chance you get, use your knockdown ability on this wolf.
Knock that wolf onto his ass and light him on fire.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I like to, well, maybe not quite this big, but, you know, I always do expand.
Combat.
so
Oh yeah, that's very nice to kind of see what's been going down. Who's pulling their weight? Who's not? Metrics are very important.
You don't earn combat XP in this game. That's another sort of controversial choice that they made. Their argument was, you know, they want the world to sort of feel dangerous, and they don't want people to just be able to grind their way past, you know, a challenging boss fight. They want it to remain challenging. So instead, you get XP for things like completing quests, exploring areas.
Which may require you to have combat, but combat directly in and of itself does not reward you with experience, which
Well-
it can also incentivize some stealth play, or if you're a stealth player, not punished for skipping fights.
So
Yes.
they're compromised. Exactly right. If you want to be a stealth player, you're not punished for not completing
Barry should be
combat.
up there in the upper left-hand corner now.
The what?
Is it random? I don't think it's random, is it? They should be right by that cow corpse, I thought.
Oh, I already got the berries.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is we did earn a little bit of XP for fighting that wolf, and the reason why is you have like a bestiary, and as we defeat more wolves, more and more of this will fill in. You know,
Oh,
so
that's
the-
very interesting.
The lore reason being, okay, you understand more about what wolves are
Oh,
and
so
what
all
their stats
wolves
are.
are level 5 and have might of 11?
Well, I guess that
Maybe.
part I don't know about the level 5. That's
Okay.
a little bit weird. So once we've defeated enough wolves, we'll stop getting XP for them. But you do get XP for the first, like, however many you fight. And so that's like a nice middle ground between, the people that were mad that combat didn't give XP, and the people, sort of their perspective of they don't want people to be able to just over level everything.
Right. So if you'll recall that, what was his name? Farkas or something? Some dude who had a... Oh, wait, are we not?
Was I supposed to go talk to this guy?
Oh, maybe.
Again, I'm only half paying attention.
We're both expecting something to be down there in
Yeah, I
that.
thought he was right here. I'll figure it out. What were you going to say?
Well, I thought your companion was like, oh, did that dude get the water for us? And then we're supposed to go check down here, I thought? Am I totally crazy?
Hey, you know what we should do? Let's
What?
check our quest journal.
Oh, man. What's that?
Collect some spring berries. Oh, I thought I did pick up the berries. I was sure that I grabbed them. Maybe I didn't.
Well, let's run back up there and we can double time it. So that's
Yeah,
a nice thing. If this
we
were Baldur's Gate, you'd be spending 5 minutes getting up there. But
Yeah, it's super true.
this is going to sound weird that I'm about to complain about this feature,
Lay
but
it on me.
every single moment I get, I go to super speed mode. And
You'd
so it maybe takes a little bit of like the romance out of the world for me because I'm just like,
Just
I don't know.
zipping all over the place.
Yeah.
You leave the speed mode on all the time. I actually want to. I know we're skipping dialogue just to sort of show off some gameplay, but I like that. So we had a huge amount of control over our character and the character creator, but then it doesn't all happen there. Like more of it happens in the start of the game. Like you're answering something about your character right now. So you say, "That's right, royal blood runs through my veins." Now you get to choose why you're even here to begin with. And like that comes into play later in the game. So it's
Really?
like you're making a decision about yourself. My family was ousted from power. Some are still held captive. So it's like it's your character's motivation. I picked someone tried to poison me.
That's very interesting.
And so more character creation is happening sort of after the game's started, I guess. We can pick something different this way. Or you can just shirk your duty. Say, I don't want to rule. And boop, boop.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Tell me about. All right, I'm getting out of
Yeah.
here.
Exactly. You actually
Stay a
learn
while,
more
listen.
about. I don't want to spoil anything, but everything in this game is multi-layered, and even this woman that could have been like a throwaway tutorial companion, NPC. There's interesting stuff with her.
I'm pretty sure we need some water.
I thought it said go back and talk to Camp. Again, I was
Oh,
only
did it?
half paying attention.
Find Sparfell. There we go. That's the guy I was talking about earlier. So he's kind of the badass hunter dude who went off to fetch us some water, which is very under his skill set. But man, I wonder what happened to him.
I don't know, James.
Oh my God, it's his water sack. Oh, so here are some of the in-game cinematics, I guess you could say. They're accompanied by text. It's a beautiful drawing. Sometimes it goes into an animation, but I absolutely love this because it just feels so rich and appropriate to the game's atmosphere.
I really like them too. It sort of makes you feel like you're inside a fantasy book, almost more than playing a video game. Eventually, some of these, I think this one just has sort of, there's no branching paths.
But if we listen, we can hear Sparfell having some labored breathing, and it says there he's normally very composed and kind of deft, but he's staggering out, and he got shot with an arrow in the back. Oh my God!
Later on, some of these have different options that have like stat checks on them. So it's like
I didn't even know that.
If you had like might 18 or whatever, you might have an option to do something different.
To punch Sparfell so hard he wakes up. From death.
His face explodes. Or there'll be different ones, or it'll be like you look like you might be able to clamber up this rock face, and then it's like if you click try, it's like you can't quite make it.
Yeah.
So it's like obvious that you need something else later. Like there's all these little reasons you might need or want to come back.
Very D&D.
Yeah, it reminds me of like. So again, we're in combat now. We got
Game's
ambushed.
paused because we just went into combat. So now we
Exactly.
kind of get to assign who attacks who. You can have both.
Should they both
attack
gang
one.
up on one guy?
Yeah, get that guy by the bridge. Screw that guy.
Since we are two fighters,
Just keep him chain CC'd. Is there diminishing returns in this game? Is that may be a slightly advanced question? Oh
yeah,
man, that is awesome. You're
Yeah.
just lighting him on fire, knocking him in the ground, kicking the
he just got rocked.
crap
I mean,
out of him.
all the classes are relatively balanced, but in the very early game, certainly fighters or anybody like that are gonna have an easier time until you get like a full party. Like Wizards are incredibly powerful.
With the Chanter, I kind of like said something to like buff our attacks or something by 5%, and then at that point, the girl had already like decapitated somebody, so it was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, certain classes are just made for one-on-one combat more than others, including the fighter. So, it is what it is. The game is meant to be played with a full party, so these very, very early combats they're just easier. They're just easier as a big, beefy melee class. But if you're playing a wizard,
we should probably queue up some abilities here.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you do that in real time without pausing?
Yes, but it's just out of habit.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the right thing to do. I was just wanted to make sure I wasn't lying earlier when I said you could.
I guess I actually want to talk about where I saw graze here. So the hunter grazed our fighter for 0.5 slash damage. A graze is almost like an opposite crit. And so it's like a critical hit does a bunch of bonus damage. A graze is like an attack that hits, but not for very much. So it deals, I think it's half damage.
And that's influenced by like your... Oh, is it...
so you can see there's a bunch of dice rolls happening behind the scene. Right. So it's like, I rolled 26, their defense was 29. Or they rolled a 26, my defense was 29. And then it sort of spits out its math. And if it's within a certain range, the attack is either a hit, a graze, or a critical hit.
I love that. I love to see, like, why did that happen?
Yep. All that's there sort of behind the scenes or under the hood if you want it. Again, I've played through probably 10 hours of this game, and I'm playing on normal, and I don't really need to pay attention to any of this. It's there if I want it. And if you were playing on a harder difficulty, if you were playing on hard or Path of the Damned, you probably need to be paying a huge amount of attention to what's going on in combat. But on normal difficulty, you can play this more like a normal RPG.
And there's some easy looting there, which I loved. And they everything goes to a stash as well, is that correct?
Yeah. So
it doesn't necessarily go straight into the character. Oh, no, it does. Okay.
Well, so you have the choice. You have a stash right here. So this is actually an example of the game has a handful of settings. I don't know. Okay, they're in this game menu settings where I don't know what you would call it. Just quality of life settings, I guess, where like there's just certain things that are annoying about playing RPGs. And Pillars of Eternity lets you turn them on and off at will. Like if you're a really hardcore RPG player and you don't want to have access to your stash all the time, you can turn that off and you only get access to your stash when you're in town.
It's pretty metal.
But I'm a more casual player, and if my inventory's full, I just hate messing around with it. I'm like, okay, I need to loot this thing, but I have this bow, so I guess I need to drop this bow. And so if you're a more casual player, you can just drop things in your stash on the fly anytime you want.
Is there a drop all button? It needs to be.
I don't know.
Steam Workshop.
And I like that the stash can be sorted by by type. We picked up those berries earlier. And there's other settings like that, like I don't know. We don't need to get too far into the weeds on this, but some of them are super cool. What button was it?
Escape.
Oh, here we go. Stuff like when you're casting an area of effect spell, like if you're a really, really hardcore player and just want to be immersed in the world, you can turn off how big the area is, or you can leave it on.
So you're just kind of like surprised. Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the reticle that may break your immersion potentially, which.
Yeah, exactly. And little stuff like turn the tutorials on and off. Things like, is a dialogue option going to affect your reputation with that faction?
Because that's fantastic.
You can be trusted or distrusted by a faction, and that's something that you can toggle on and off depending on how hardcore you want to be about your role playing.
So it's very much an experience that the player can tailor to what they want out of this game.
Here's actually a good example of depending on your stats, your class, your background, all kinds of different things. There's unique dialogue, and since we do have a lore of at least one, we have this dialogue option. Obsidian
the
really
has not been sullied by our hands, men of Ir Glanfith.
Exactly.
The pronunciation.
Obsidian really emphasized that these options aren't necessarily better. Just because, sometimes you'll see one where it's like, hey, if you had might 18, you could pick this option, and you can't pick it, and it's really stressful because you're like, I'm missing out on the best way. But I found that high might is often a really threatening answer, and it's kind of aggressive in a way that it's not. Obsidian's right; it's really not necessarily.
It could be good, if the person that you're talking to is subject to intimidation, but it may backfire on you, and they'll be like, "You can't intimidate me."
Yeah. So here's actually a better example of this. We don't have the option to pick these two, and it doesn't even show us what they are. We do have the option to pick several more based on our stats. And we sort of skip through it. So what's happening is, everyone's being killed, and if we're careful and we pick the right thing, like the last member of this camp, the shopkeeper, we can keep him alive. He doesn't have to die, but it's all about like telling these aggressors the right thing. What do you think we should tell them? Go ahead and kill him now. Do it.
That's actually, I think, what I chose, and they were like, no. So
Is
let's
that-
see. Call my bluff. I'm pretty sure that's what I chose, and I'm pretty sure he was totally fine.
Okay, because I picked only a fool attacks a weak enemy while a stronger one yet lives. And what
That actually may have been it. But you know what? I really want option 5.
All
Let's
right.
see. Let's see if he's...
The man hesitates, his eyes narrows as he studies these. What kind of coward asks for his own man to be killed?
You first, then. Ta-da! I wonder if
Wow.
it's because the tutorial, it's kind of like...
Wow, you had... Oh, no, but the end result is the same. Because
Oh.
when I played, he raked his blade along the guy's torso.
Right.
So he lived, but he was still injured.
Okay.
So
So I
sometimes-
think it's just because it's the tutorial, it's a little bit kind of predetermined, but certainly...
Well, I mean, this game, any smart game has a combination of real choice and, like, the perception of choice. So it's like we picked super different options and got a little bit of different flavor, but the end result was the same, Like, we got to end up fighting this dude either way.
So we have kind of a boss here. We've gotten this...
So let's get this guy.
merchant
Let's get
in
the
our
injured
party.
guy out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to place him back
Sure.
here.
He is still useful, though. He has some kind of... What is that ability? He's got some kind of... some kind of CC.
Yeah, he does, but I want to get him
Okay.
at least, like, because he's damaged. You can actually see that he's taken some damage. So I want to get him, like, out of the line of fire first.
He's
Wow.
just getting beaten on. Man.
Okay, so let's leave the boss for now. Let's have this one attack this one.
Can you knock him over and then...
the boss?
Yeah, and then
Oh.
go...
Okay,
tend to
run
the
away,
dudes.
run away, run away. No, you attack you. And you
Blinding strike. that's what it is.
blind him.
There we go.
Okay.
All
So
right.
now I want to take out this hunter. Okay, so one of them's dead. So you can see, I don't know how you play the game, but this is how I play the game. I pause on pause, pause on pause. Like that's the way that I play super often. Now you knock down, and you...
How do you feel about the fact that this isn't a turn-based game?
Uh,
that it is real-time? Do you like it?
I do.
Okay.
I mean,
guess-
I'm used to Baldur's Gate,
Mhm.
so I was actually really surprised that it was even an argument, which it was.
Mhm.
Like there's like some people just swear by turn-based, and some people swear by real-time with pause, which is what this sort of system's called. I'm very personally just very very much in favor of real-time with pause.
Right. I guess my feeling about it was, this is pretty awesome, by the way. So I believe they mumbled some kind of curse or something, but anyway, they're summoning some kind of beast, and this is kind of where I drill
Yeah.
off. So I don't
well,
even know what this ends up being.
You kind of don't know. Like it's a storm,
Right.
but is it real? Is it supernatural?
Right.
You don't know.
Oh, and here's one of those things where you'll see, I believe you have like, there
Yeah.
we go. So if dexterity requirement not met, so we don't know what that option is, but throw your weapon at the attacker. Allow Hewden to break free on his own. I threw my weapon because I'm a boss. But you
Yeah.
can choose
I threw my
whichever.
weapon as well.
But then you don't
But
recover
then you,
your weapon.
Then you don't have your
after
weapon.
that,
Then you're in this dungeon without your weapon.
which is pretty...
Let's see what happens. Let's see
badass.
if he breaks free on his own. As he reaches the rock face. Oh no. Oh, he doesn't make it.
Wow! I did not expect that at all because I totally threw my weapon, and so I guess that's a trade-off. Oh well.
Yeah.
See ya. See ya, Blinding Strike.
Well, now
Well,
we're
at least we have our weapon, though. That's pretty important.
and we're stuck with just Callista. Calliska, not Callista. We got a bunch of experience for the quest. I don't think we leveled up, so I'm not sure we'll be able to show that. Where's our character? Is it C? There it is. Yeah, so we're not quite leveled up yet.
Well, I may have to wait for another time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you've seen some of the basic mechanics of this game. This game is a very deep experience, and obviously that is not a telling Let's Play that encompasses all the aspects of the game, but we tried to get through as much as we possibly could. We'll certainly be doing more of these because I think that there's absolutely more to show. Make sure to check out our review. Once again, I'm James Duggan.
I am Justin Davis.
And for all things Pillars of Eternity, keep it right here on IGN.